All right, Byron. Influencers. We've all had multiples. Sometimes it's for a second or a minute. Sometimes they're for a lifetime. Sometimes we might not even know until later. I tell this story a lot when I speak. My grandfather was probably one of my first major influencers when he and my grandmother, my mom, my aunt were from Kyiv, and he used to take me for walks in the park in Montreal when I was 5 or 6, and with an accent and everything. And one time he talked to people. One time I called him Zeta. I said, Zeta, how do you know all these people? And he looked at me and said, I don't know. It was one day I smiled at this guy, and then he smiled back at me, and then he actually started talking to me. So I talked back to him, and then someone else passed by and they smiled at us and started talking, and so on and so on. It's probably from him that I talk too much, mind you, but that's it. But it hit me as a 5-year-old in a crazy way, and I remembered it, and I started learning more and more what he was talking about. Brilliantly simple was that he influenced somebody just with a smile that maybe wouldn't have said anything, but the smile created it, an opening to smile back. And so with that said, many more after that. Can you share with us 2 or 3 people that have been influential in your life?
Yeah, I mean, I think the most obvious answer that I'll never not start with is my dad. My dad is a father of 6 kids. My mom is a wonderful human being. My dad still works, every day of his life, but has found a way to enjoy work and enjoy life at the same time. And so I think I saw an opportunity to not have just a job when I grew up, but really to be fulfilled by the place that I go to for work and the place that I go to for my family. And then it's a hard answer for me because I spent so much time growing up trying to figure myself out that I didn't have a lot of space to find, the influences on me because I didn't know what that meant yet. But most recently, a lot of my influencers are my kids, which are my college age kids, my 18 to 21-year-olds. I learn more from them than I ever will, mentors or people ahead of me at work. And so
Brilliant.
One of our students recently, she texted me a couple of nights ago, she won an NAACP award for her media production at a company that we aligned her with. I learned a lot from her about really the diversity of race and ethnicity and how that has impacted her life. She has a podcast where she, in college, empowered the voices of Black women. So when I think about who influences me today, it's you don't get to influence me unless you're under 25 years old, right? I think that we need to learn from this generation of talent. I think Santiago, who's one of our students, who is a first-generation American who I met through our program, but he's in Georgia. He took a 12-hour bus ride to New York overnight for an event. I learned from him just the resiliency of everything other than internships, and learn that it's my role and my responsibility to get their voice out there at scale. And so
that's spectacular because I got 3 sons and a daughter-in-law, and she's actually my favorite. And
didn't say it on video, by the way.
I know they taught me. They taught me a lot too. No, it's actually fantastic. There are negative influencers too, and it's something I always chat with people about. We're influencing people all the time, and it's actually our choice if it's going to be positive or negative. And so when you said there wasn't any, we've all had the ones that have been the other side also, I think, and the negative influencers. So that's brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing that.
I appreciate it. It's fun to talk about this stuff, but it's to your point about negative influencers. I learned who I didn't want to be more than who I did want to be, right? So I've seen a lot of people who I know that I don't want to take anything after them, and so I've kind of modeled my life around that as well. I like that point.
Yeah, careful who you associate with, sort of, kind of. Thanks.